about interviewing. Remember from another video lecture we were speaking about research methods. Actually, interviewing is one of those research methods that are very commonly used, and so you can actually apply it to all the different analysis that you are going to do. For example, the stakeholder analysis, but also the context analysis and the organization analysis. So it's very commonly used, and that's why I would like to discuss it a little bit further with you. So let's go there. Interviewing, there we are. In-depth interviewing. There are different kinds of interview that you can conduct. You can conduct structured interviews, for example, interviews in which you have set out all the different questions that you want to ask, and in those type of interviews you are the one in charge and you are the one who is actually leading the conversation. And on the other hand, you have unstructured interviews in which the participant is actually more leading the conversation, and you have absolutely no clue beforehand where you're going to speak about. So you let completely go of the structure and you leave it up to the participant. And then there's something in between, and that is the semi-structured interview. And that interview is actually quite commonly used in this type of research as a needs assessment or evaluation research, because with a semi-structured interview you have a common set of themes in mind that you would like to discuss, but you don't have actually a set of questions that you want to ask. So you leave it up to the participant how the interview is structured. So those are the different kinds of interviews that you can use. Now let's go to the interview skills that you actually need. No matter where you are, you need interview skills to be able to fully, completely conduct a good interview. But especially when you're going to developing countries, these skills are especially important. For example, active listening might be something that you do naturally, but in another country with a different culture, you might want to look beforehand what is actually active listening in that culture. Is that actually looking someone in the eye when he or she is talking? Is it actually the nodding that we do? So figure that out beforehand. What is the best form of active listening in this interview? Being responsive is also a skill that you really need to practice, because we don't really have it naturally, apart from informal conversations. But it's something that you really need to practice, because people give you an answer, and especially in semi-structured interviews, your next question is going to be built upon the answer that the participant gives you. So you really need to be responsive, being able to improvise and to formulate a new question based on the answer that the participant gives you. Quite a difficult skill that you really need to practice. So, and with all of that comes flexibility, not only regarding the culture that you want to adapt to, but also regarding the questions and letting go of the control of the interview in case of semi-structured and unstructured interviews. With that comes also a code of conduct, of course. First of all, you want to create a comfortable atmosphere, especially with people who are not really used to being interviewed. You want to make sure that they are feeling comfortable so that they can speak freely. Now, during class, I will give you some advices how to create a comfortable atmosphere, and we will practice that as well. Regarding appearance and demeanor, it's also very important that you beforehand look up the culture and look what is culturally appropriate, how to behave, how to wear your clothes, if you should wear jewelry or not. So make sure that you are wearing proper clothing and jewelry, and your appearance is okay. Then actually also what is very nice for the participant is that you are speaking their local language, especially when you're interviewing people who are not used to being interviewed. It's very nice if you know the local language. So try as much as possible to speak their local language. Also, something that is very important, don't interrupt. It's something that might sound logical, but it's actually quite difficult, especially when you are not having a lot of time. Then it might be reluctant to interrupt the person, but it might be very disrespectful to interrupt. So try to avoid that as much as possible, and as soon as someone has finished their answer, then you can change the subject if you like. Also, make sure that you're always neutral and don't give your opinion in the interview. It's about their opinion and not yours. Then last, ethical considerations. Think beforehand if there's any subjects that the participant might not want to speak about, subjects that might be a taboo in that country. So make sure to not completely blow away a participant with a question that they're not really comfortable with. Now last, during an interview you really want to get in-depth information from a participant. So you can do that according to the 4 layers of interpretation. According to the theory of argumentative policy analysis that you can look up to in the study guide, there's 4 different layers to which you can actually get answers from the participants. For example, they give their vision on what should be a suitable solution to a certain problem, but they also define the problem and they give background theories. That means that they explain why the problem is there, and they provide you with more information about the problem, and in the end they share with you their feelings about that certain issue. That's the 4th layer, and actually the deepest layer of interpretation. Now, it doesn't necessarily come in that order. Actually, most of the time people start with telling you about a certain problem, and through why questioning you get to a deeper layer of why that problem is there, and additional information, and even deeper their feelings, their norms and values, their intrinsic motivations, etc. And then later on they come up with what they think could be a suitable solution to that problem. So it doesn't really necessarily have to come up in that order, but most of the times it is in this order, or solution at last. Okay, so that was the first part of interviewing. I would like to ask you to also watch the next part of interviewing, in which we discuss more in depth how to actually conduct the interview. So for now, bye bye.